Okay, thank you very much, and you will welcome each and everyone for the third edition of the Uganda Communications Commission and UCC Cyber Stars competition. Before I begin, I will have to confirm whether I am audible enough, and if at all you can hear me well, and if at all I am audible enough, I will type a yes in the chat so that I can confirm that I'm audible to everyone, or you can just react so that I can confirm that I'm audible enough. Okay, thank you very much. I can see as many reactions as possible. I will welcome to you all. I want to commend each and everyone that has joined right now. Regardless, I don't know how many universities, every university has a participant here. So if you go to this invitation and if you're here, you were invited for the UCC Cyber Stars, the third edition of this competition. This is 2025, and we are having this cybersecurity competition for the third time. This is courtesy of Uganda Communications Commission and UGSAT. I also thank the universities that have joined, the administrators. Some of them, I know they are on the call, for actually mentoring and encouraging their students to be part of this. And I will welcome to you all to this first session of the third edition of the UCC Cyber Drill. My name, Kansi Majoli, is my name. I will be part, not entirely one person. We shall be a team of mentors and facilitators that will take us through these sessions. We are not only going to teach you only, we shall also mentor you, because mentorship is very key. We tell you what to do, what certifications you can do, where do you go, when you want to learn what, how do you go about it. And we want to proceed to grow this community from now at the university, even up when you finish your university. The UCC simulation platform, all of you which you use it to register, is one of the technologies we are having on board to actually progress with as far as marketing ourselves, skilling ourselves as far as cybersecurity is concerned. And I recommend each and everyone to make use of it. We want 2 or 3 years from now to have a milestone of 2,000 or maybe 5,000 plus students that have benefited from this simulation platform. Not only the platform, but also we want to see you taking over these jobs in the industry, cybersecurity jobs, as we shall see them in the mentorship sessions. We shall try as much as possible to bring in people to encourage you. We shall answer your questions in our forums. We shall guide you in these training sessions up to the semifinals, up to the finals. This session is a hands-on session. You have to really be ready to use your computer, and not leaving that. We are not leaving saying that theory is not okay. Yes, we shall teach you theory, and basics are very important. So we shall do much of practical, and also look at how theory things work over there. So we have prerequisites of this. Before I share my screen, the prerequisites of this, in front of me, I have one of the tools I have been asking you to install. We want you to have Linux. Linux can be installed or can be used in many ways. You can use Linux in a virtual machine. We shall know why. We can use Linux. In this time around, we have Windows subsystem for Linux, which is WSL. You can install and use it with Linux, or else you can do your boot. Fellows have been asking on the forum whether they can do your boot. Your booting is having 2 operating systems, but when you're booting, you choose which operating system to boot into. You can boot into Linux, you can boot into Windows. Then there are so many ways you can run Linux. Some of you may be having VPS cloud computing. So in this case, in front of me, I have my Kali Linux, and my Kali Linux is in a virtual machine. This virtual machine called VMware Workstation. This is where I've installed my Kali Linux. So it looks like this. It's not the latest edition, but at least I know I can use it to do all my tasks. And if you don't have Linux, you feel like you don't have the resources, I have WSL also. So WSL is also installed. So I can run WSL, which is also a Linux distribution. You can install any Linux distribution in this machine. Why is it like that? So Windows try to incorporate Linux subsystem, and when you look at this, you'll see that I have Linux. So in this case, It means that I'm running Linux on my Windows. This is my Windows machine. If at all you want to know what machine I'm using, this is a Windows machine, and I am running Linux in very many ways. So in this case, it's up to you to run any of those distributions in any of these environments. So what else do we need now? In front of me also, why do we prefer Kali? Kali is because tools are pre-installed. Kali Linux, we shall look at what is Kali Linux, what is Ubuntu in the basics. So in this case, this is for the beginners. So which other things do I have at my disposal? At my disposal, I can have a note-taking tool. You may be asking yourself, what do you mean a note-taking tool? Why would a person in the industry or maybe learning cybersecurity have a note-taking tool? But I want to bring you interesting news that when you're solving or you're reading something, it's good to take notes. And we have good note-taking tools in place. And I expect you to be noting these things. Me myself, I use something called Obsidian. Obsidian is a tool for taking notes. You can take screenshots. As you can see, when I'm solving labs or doing what, I can take notes like this. And I also save my command that I use it to solve things or solve labs. So for you, if you really want to take notes, please use one Obsidian. There is Notion, and we can also, if you're using Kali Linux, there is a pre-installed tool called CD3. So all these really they take good notes. Even if it's code, it can help you write code in a good manner. And trust me, you will not ask Google a lot of things when you're solving things. You just refer to your notes because you know you're the one who actually did or created them. Okay, so those are some of the things that I may require you to have. If you don't have your notebook, you can have a note-taking tool. A notebook will not put a screenshot there. That's why you need a digital tool like this for you to be ready for this. Okay, so another thing we can look at is basically the LMS now. We have two platforms. These two platforms, we can be able to look at them. One is this learn.ugsat.ug, which is our simulation platform that we normally have challenges. If you registered and you registered successfully, you should be seeing something like these challenges in different categories. And when you look at these challenges, you've seen that we are able to solve some. And trust me, when I look at the scoreboard, I can tell that yes, looks like people really have been solving challenges. And I can look at it and tell that yes, a few students, or actually most of them, have been solving challenges. And I want to thank those that have already tried the challenges. Those that haven't tried, you don't need to worry. These are training challenges. We shall train you so that you can also solve these challenges with ease. Okay, we have our learning management system, which we have our modules, and this is where we log in and enroll for these courses. So for starters, we shall start with Linux basics, and when you look at this, you'll find that we shall learn through these modules, Linux basics commands. We shall see file read. We shall look at the Linux file system. We shall look at some of those challenges that we shall play there. We shall also be introduced how a Linux shell looks like. We shall look at file operations. How do you deal with files in Linux? How do you create? How do you open files, and so on. Text operations. How do you deal with text? We shall see users and groups in Linux. Just like in Windows, your Windows machine, you have a user, and that user has some rights or has some permissions. The same applies to Linux. So we shall look at process manipulations and network communication. All these are basics you need. You don't need to be an expert in Linux for you to be the best in cybersecurity. So that is why it brings me to those that are starting from zero. You don't need to worry, we shall train you from zero to intermediate. Maybe for starters, about me, I'm a security engineer, and basically I have done this. I also took part in this cyber stars competition way back, and trust me, this built my foundation for the cybersecurity journey. And from the cyber stars competition, I proceeded to do different courses, certifications, which are more into digital forensics, penetration testing, and active directory attacks, and so on. So basically, you will find that with time, you'll find yourself trying to do this certification so that you can show people that yes, I have the skill, but yes, I can prove that I have the skill. How? The only way you can prove to someone is if you have a certificate. But trust me, before the certificate, the skill is important. The person can hire you because you have the skill. Okay, so without wasting much of the time, the rules are clear. You have to attend any of these sessions. Really, you have to attend. We shall be taking attendance. And then also, if you have a question, you will paste it in the chat, either in our WhatsApp forum, or you will actually paste it here in the chat. People will be able to respond to you, my colleagues. And then for those that want to have questions, every end of the session we shall have Q&A, question and answer. Minus that, I welcome you all to the first session of the third edition of the UCC Cyber Stars. I can now share something and start. So for starters, everyone should have enrolled in a Linux Basics class. So, and to introduce you to this, okay, you will confirm whether you can see my screen, and then you will proceed to see. So this actually is a Linux Basics. Like I told you, you don't need to be an expert to learn to be good at Linux, to be good at cybersecurity. We shall just learn the basics, and then the basics will make you a better version of a cybersecurity engineer in this institution. Okay. So about this class, we shall be having breaks in between before we go into the next session. We always have so that's what we can call a break, or just a tea break, so that we can cool down from the session. So Linux Basics, we shall look at what exactly is Linux, and please you can confirm whether you can see my slide. If you can see my slides, you can if you can confirm by reacting. You can confirm by. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Someone says I'm breaking. I don't know whether it's his network or mine, but if I'm audible enough, thank you. Okay, so we are looking at Linux. Just like you have Windows as an operating system, there is an operating system. There is an operating system that cybersecurity engineers love, and that operating system is Linux. Linux, as you can see, it also has common features like you see in other operating systems. The user side, the application side, the operating system, and the hardware. So in this case, we shall look at those common features, which include the networking, the input-output, the process management, the file system. I'm very sure you are not hearing Linux for the first time, and me, I can have my Linux here that looks like this. Like I told you, this is my Linux. This is my Linux that I run in a virtual machine, and this is Kali Linux. If you are doing this for the first time, mine looks like this. Some of you have Ubuntu, some of you have Fedora, some of you have CentOS. Those are hybrids, I can call, or distributions of Linux. Any of those, you can be able to successfully run this competition. And I can guarantee you that you will be, by the time you finish these sessions, you'll be the best. So what do we mean here? So when you look at the user level and the application level, so in my Linux, you'll see that I also have applications like anyone else, or like any other operating system. And then these when you look at in Linux, the most thing we deal with is a shell, or I can call it a terminal. I can zoom in so that we can all see. So this is where we write commands. This is where we write all our commands. So Linux is a command line based operating system, unlike Windows, which is a graphical user interface. So in this case, for you to do something in Windows, you just click on an application and it loads. Here you just write a command to do that operation. If I want to create a folder, I will just create a folder and I call it Joel. So in this case, this is a command and this is the value that I'm giving to the command. So this is a command, I say create a directory called Joel. So when I press enter and I list all directories, you'll see a directory called Joel here. So in Windows, you have to right click here and there, create a folder. but here use commands to accomplish tasks. So for those doing this for the first time, so to proceed with the slides, so Linux, after understanding what Linux is, it is an operating system, just like I've told you. And an operating system, in this case, it is command line. And this time around, we shall look at how these commands we can make use of them. So in this case, we can see if you've made your own research, you'll find out that it was the person who created Linux, and then why do hackers or cybersecurity professionals use it? Well, everyone in cybersecurity use it, and I would love to use it. You would also love to use it, and trust me, it will be a fancy tool to use it. So it is unique, and which means that you can multitask because you can do everything just like any other operating system. And trust me, servers worldwide now, as of now, I think it has even exceeded the percentage. Many servers now run Linux. Even Android phones run Linux. If you have a MacBook, it has a kernel of Linux also. That is why you can run Linux command on the tail of a MacBook. So basically, all these make us understand the philosophy of Linux. I would say this slide look through, and many people love Linux. Well, programming, the usability, you can customize it. In this case, Linux is open source. That is why it has many distributions. Unlike Windows, where everything is from Microsoft, in this case, Linux is custom. You can jump today and create your own hybrid of Linux, just like these people here who created all these distributions of Linux. In this case, we have Red Hat, we have things like Fedora, we have things like Minikaz, we have Hydra Linux, we have Mint. All these are hybrids of Linux, and trust me, some of you are hearing this for the first time. You will hear Ubuntu and so on and so forth. So, which means that it is good for the users who want to dive much into cyber security. So, just like I told you, it has many distributions. I normally use Kali, you can use CentOS, and so on and so forth. So basically, these are the people that are behind this. Just someone in his apartment came up with an operating system that now hackers find interesting to use. So in this case, we shall also look at what exactly is Linux. One, like I told you, these are just programs that do something. In this case, if you have SSH, STP, ping, telnet, if you want to configure or do anything with the network, we have those commands. So that is why, if I want, when you, for example, if I just do SSH and press enter, you'll see, if I zoom out, okay, you see that this is actually a program where you see it in Linux, and all this is how to use it. So basically, if you want to ping the network, you ping it using command ping like. So if you want to copy something the server, HTTP, so it's here for you. So basically, these are just utilities in Linux that help you accomplish that. And we have more of these commands. For example, something to do with shell, we have aliases. An alias is, for example, if I can create an alias or a SSH into my server. So every time I run a command like Joel, it will run something I have configured. In this case, I can say every time I type command Joel, so don't say, can I create my own commands in Linux? Yes, as aliases. So in this case, you can create your command and call it Gen Z. And every time you run Gen Z, the command will ping your server and find if it's live or if it's not. You can configure aliases every time the way you see them. So you can configure your environment variables and so on and so forth. So system information, if you want to know about the system information, we can look at it in detail. So when I ran ID, it just brought me information about what exactly who is logged on the group, the user, and so on and so forth. And trust me, when I just say who am I, it will tell you who is that person logged on to this machine. And this is my username, Kali. And if you don't know how to use the command, you'll find there is a manual page for it. If you want to do, you want to see the date, you just run command date, and so on and so forth. So in this case, we shall learn these basic commands, and most of them we shall be trained on how to use them. So we have symbols that we normally use, and these symbols can also be found on our keyboard. For example, when you look at this, you may be asking myself, where will I use this symbol? So symbols, we use them because when I say, like, for example, CD means change directory. When I say CD with this symbol, that symbol represents something in Linux file system. So when I press enter, you'll see I was in this folder or directory, but now I'm here. So this symbol represents a home directory. If you want to see, if you want to print your working directory, you see I'm inside my home directory, which is home, and my user Kali. So basically everything has its purpose, and every symbol we can use it. All these symbols you see here, we can be able to use them. And we shall look at how to use them in Linux and also do some challenges for them. We shall learn how to do file operations using grep, using grep, using let, using head. So in this case, all these are the parts. And trust me, all these you see here, you will find challenges in your semifinals and finals about how. Like I can give you a log file that has 1,000 words. How would you get a flag? Well, text operations and file operations. So that is why you have to grep. Grep is a piece that finds a specific character in a large document or a large file or text file. So in this case, we shall see also how to use it, and we shall have hotkeys that we normally use for the terminal, and also how to use them. So there are many as possible, and I can guarantee that we shall learn all this, and by the time we finish, we shall be good at it. Okay. I have my fellows; they will be answering questions in the chat, or when you put them there. And I thank you for joining. So now we can proceed. Okay, so when we proceed, like I told you, we are looking at how do we connect to a Linux host. I'm wondering right now in front of you, you have a Linux box. When you hear me talk about your vocabulary is like a box, just know I mean your machine because it's a virtual box. Or it is a virtual machine, a box. So in this case, how do we connect to the host? In this case, how do I even connect to a remote server, maybe that is Linux? And this brings us to how we can connect to Linux machines in many ways. That is, if you need external emulator, you can install it. And external emulators are very many. And that is, some of them call them terminals, some of them call them shells. In Windows, you have PowerShell. In Linux, you have your terminal. In Mac, you have also your command, your shell. So as many as possible. So it's called a secure shell. In this case, called SSH. So in this case, what do? You are at the client. Your machine is a client. It can be a Windows, it can be anything, it can be Linux or anything that is a client. So in this case, if you want to connect to a server, typically like we shall be doing in a few minutes, you will have to you will have to connect from a client to that remote server using secure shell, which is SSH. And in this case, you can also connect via VNC. VNC, we don't normally use it. These are also exterms. Normally, we normally use them for web-based terminals. For those that we not ever used VNC, but it was not reliable for users. But we have our shell, like you will see us use. So in this case, for you to connect, if you have a Windows machine, you have to install a utility that helps you. In this case, I told you exterm just gives you an emulation of a terminal. So in Windows, there is something called PuTTY, and you can download it from there. Just download the PuTTY if you want. If you totally don't have Linux and you want to connect to a remote host, which is Linux, you just download PuTTY and use it. And when you're on MacBook, trust me, you can just pull out your terminal. It's already installed. And trust me, the system on which Apple or macOS runs in is built on Unix. So basically, that's why some of those commands work. And this brings us to our lab. So now, let's look at our lab. Some of you had not answered this question in the lab. So let's see who takes this home. So you will head over to to challenges, and I will want you to solve this challenge. I can see only 52 solved. I want to see you all solve this challenge. How do we remotely access Linux systems? So, and I can confirm the first person who solved this challenge was okay. The first person, as we can see here, was Reach for the Stars. Yes, I told you to use your pseudonyms here. We don't want people to disturb you. Please solve for me that. So we can see this user was the first person to solve the challenge, and we applaud him for the first for being first on this. So I'm giving 1 minute uh, for you to solve this challenge, and we proceed to the next thing and the next course of this. 1 minute. For those that were asking how do we submit flags, this platform, you open it, you go under challenges, you open a challenge, you read its description. For example, they're asking me how do we remotely access Linux servers. If my answer is Joel and you're sure it's correct, you click submit. If it's wrong, the system will tell you it is incorrect. If it is correct, they will tell you answered correct, and your marks will be added to you here on the scoreboard. Okay, now I'm waiting to see if you're solving it. Okay, and please confirm if if you know you have solved, put a reaction in the chat. If you know you have solved, put a reaction in the chat. If you know you have solved, put a reaction. Okay, I can see many people have solved this challenge. Okay, thank you very much. Some of you have solved this, and let's proceed from there. So the answer here is SSH, and when I submit it, will it be wrong or correct? Or do they want us to follow a flag format? So that is why you need to understand, do they want a flag format, or do they don't, or they just want the answer? So in this case, they will tell me I've corrected, or I've answered my challenge, and my 50 points have been given to me, and this is marked solved. So I encourage you all to go and proceed and solve these challenges. Okay, we can proceed now. Some of you who are saying how do we register to the website, I don't know whether you've been with us, but trust me, you have to go at, I've shared the link, and it is in this chat. You can look at it. Okay, so now not to save time, let's proceed and look at next thing in Linux. So we shall go on under our LMS, our learning management system. So in this case, we shall look at what exactly we've been learning after understanding how to connect to our site or our server that we use Linux. We shall understand and read some basic commands, and those basic commands can be something like this: who am I? And if you're running Linux, I encourage you to just head over and practice with me. We have a concern of people who were locked out by capacity. The session is recorded for you. I think that makes it clear. Okay, so let's start running our very first command. If you're doing this for the first time, we can learn together. So when you want to know, for example, when we look at system information, we can say, who am I, to understand who exactly the current user logged into the system. So in this case, who am I, like I saw, will print who exactly is logged onto the system, and that's the command, and it should be able to give you. So then how do you know, for example, your UID, that is user ID or group ID? How do I know which group do I belong to? Because every file, Linux system or every system, there has to be a user and how, which group he belongs to. So when I run ID, it will print all my UIDs and GUIDs, and they look like this. So in this case, this is my UID, and this is my group ID. GID means group ID. So in this case, you can see how we this user called carry. For you, your user here will be different. It will be someone else, but it will be which person logged on to the user. So, but then how do you know the name of this computer or the name? So we just say host name. I'm running this command, by the way, in WSL. Those people who are saying WSL it is not maybe sufficient for this. No, trust me, you can be able to do everything you can do in your Windows or Linux box. Okay, so in order to print host name, you will find how you can go about this to understand what they. So if it's a server, they can print the name of the server, or in this case, they can print anything. So for those who are using our web shell, which is actually under terminal, so when you go here under terminal, it will take you to web shell, and web shell looks like this. So it's also you can run some basic Linux commands. For example, who am I? I'm CentOS. Let me try to log. So ID, let me see. So I will see the group ID I belong to and everything, the group. When I want to know, for example, host name of this, I have to write that well. So that is my host name. And so you can even run SSH and everything on this scale of ours. Okay. So after understanding that, this takes us to how to know anything about the operating system, the kernel version, the architecture. Why do you need this? As you're doing assessment, you're a security engineer, and you want to know which versions of servers are outdated and you want to patch them, you have to come and run uname. So uname brings a lot, brings just the name, but when you just say uname with a tag A, it will bring all the architecture of this machine. So before we run commands, we have to understand how these commands work. How does a command work? A command works in these cases. Someone says, please say a link to the web shell, please. It is when if you have access to you'll be seeing on the navigation bar the word called terminal. So click on terminal, it will take you to the web shell. Okay, so I was still explaining Linux commands, how they do. Linux commands, it is always a command like ls. Ls is a command for listing files. So commands always have options. Commands always have utilities that go on. So for example, if I say ls, it will list files that are inside here. But when I say ls with a minus tag l, it means that I want a long list if I had files. So that is why I can even do this. That is why, so for example, if I have my directory called Joel, so in this case, this is a command, and this is an option given to it. So this command will create a directory, but you can't create a directory without a name. So that is why a command is always followed by an option. So in this case, if I run ls, it will list for me the folders and files inside here. But then when I do ls tag l means list, long list. It will give me, it will actually give me the name, but it does not only give me the name, it also give me all the time it was created and modifications, gives me the size, gives me the rights I have. So when we look at file operations, we shall see what these mean, and we shall be able to actually understand. So it means that a person called Kari is the one who owns this, and we shall also look at that. So basically, understanding Linux, we shall teach you the basics, and you will build from the basics to learn everything. So in this case, I want us to now navigate to our course back and look at more of these basic commands. In this case, we have a command pwd, which means print working directory. If you want to know which folder you are in, you just say pwd print working directory. I will provide the PDF and with all these. So it means that I'm in a directory. So in Linux, we told you these characters also mean something. So in Linux, that means root, home. So if you want to understand the file system of Linux, I can show it to you around here in a minute. To understand that, when you hover to Linux file system in our modules, you will see it gives you how a system looks like. File system means that for you in Windows you have C, you have maybe program files and so on. Here in Linux, we have something that looks like so. Root is like the parent, or it means that that's where all other directories derive from. So when you see root is actually the head of the file system of Linux. If you want to see that, we can see that in practical and understand it. So Kali, my Kali Linux is here. Now I want to understand my file system. So in this case, what will I do? Uh, so I can first go to under root, and we see. So this will be a lot of of files. I wanted to just run tree. Tree is a command that gives you the whole Linux file system, how it looks like, and how parent directories are appended to it. Maybe let me scroll at the beginning. We look at how that command brought it. Okay, so I ran a command called root. No. I think I ran a second one down here. Yes. So I ran a command called root tree. So tree, it just printed anything in root directory with its appended directories inside it. So just like when I just list them, these are all the files that make up the entire Linux file system. And you'll see a file like opt, you'll see a file like root, a directory like root, tm, and so on and so forth. So in this case, that is why you have to learn these commands. So let's now head over to understanding these Unix commands. We shall not have a lot of Linux commands, and that's why I encourage you to actually do it, to get used with them and make sure they are you're liking them. So in this case, we have looked at the cell and how we can connect at the cell, and now in this case, we need to look at these commands. So these commands uh, will guarantee you how to understand Linux commands. You have to categorize them. You know this command is for file management, this is for file system, this is for help, or process management, for networking, and so on. So when you look at command, like I was explaining the structure of a command in Linux. A command is always followed by an argument. So like I said, ls can be a command, but what is the argument can I add? So multiple commands are separated by that sign and can be executed one after the other. So when you proceed and understand that structure, you'll be able to understand how to use them. So in this case, we can see, like we saw, uh, when you say uname, it will just print the name of the the architecture, or the name of the what of this machine. But when I say uname tag a, this is an argument. That is what we mean by arguments in Linux. So this followed one, whatever follows here is an argument. So it is a command space with an argument. So in this case, you need to understand these arguments. So this will print the whole architecture and kernel of this full architecture and kernel of this Linux machine. So after understanding that, it means that it will be now easy for us to use commands. Okay, when you don't know how to use a command, what do you do? For example, for those doing this for the first time, I know you're saying, but I'm hearing you talk about commands like ls. I don't know how to use it. So when you don't know how to use a command, say man. So man means manual. So you can read its manual page. You can read the manual page of a command. When you create when all these commands in Unix have manual pages. Manual page means that it's like a playbook. You go to read more about something. So when I say man ls and I press enter, you see they will be talking about the whole information about this command. In this case, they're telling you ls is a command that lists the directories and all directory content. In this case, how do you run it? You just type a command and put options, and then it will display files and so on. So you can run ls tag a to view all entries. Then tag a, also capital A, there is tag author, there is tag b to escape. So you can proceed. When I press enter, I keep on reading this manual of this command. So for these people who are doing this for the first time, this will be able to help you. And how do you quit from here? You have to read, you have to press Q to quit. So in this case, that's how you quit manual pages. So this actually brings us to how do you get help? Oh, and another way to get help is ls You just run you run help. Let me see. Let me try zoom. Okay. So when I just put a help command, it will bring me how to use a file. So the command is, you put a command, and with this, if you don't know how to use a command, you'll be asking yourself, but then commands are many. How did you learn all of them? No. How did I learn? Is that when I meet something I don't know, I just run help to understand how it works. So when I just say help and say less, I will bring me the top 10. So I will see tag A, I will see tag capital A, and so on. So this will give me on how to use this tool. Okay, so we can proceed. So we need to use pipe. We shall also learn how to use pipe. A pipe in Linux is something like this on your keyboard. That is a pipe. So for example, if I say if I want to run another command on one line, I can put a pipe and just run another command. For example, when I say pwd, I put a pipe, then I run another command. So basically, a pipe separates two commands. In this case, in file operations, you'll see how we shall be using pipe, and also understanding how this helps us to run commands on one line. So combining these two tools, for example, using, for example, who, so we can actually see these are two tools that are being used but separated by a pipe. So this can give you to run one command but doing many things. Okay, so now this gives us on how to understand Linux file management and what is the file, how do we manage files in Linux. Those are things now I want to look at this moment. Okay, let me understand. CD means change directory. If you want to leave one directory, so you have to learn file navigation because there will be a lot of challenges about that. So in this case, change the current directory. So when you just CD with no arguments, the user will just head over to that path where the home directory is. So ch mode meaning that change mode of the file. So this ch mode means it changes the file permissions. Who was the owner of the file? We can look at that practically. I can head over to CD. We saw it is change directory, and this is home. This sign you see means home. So when I'm home, how do you know that you're home? Print working directory. That's a command pwd, and you'll see that I'm in my home directory. How do we list files? ls. Enter. These are files that are listed. So when you're here, according to how do we understand that something is here, you have to list the file. But then how do you understand the permissions of the file? I told you have to run ls with stack lh, and this will actually give you these permissions. And from these permissions, it's where you will be able to understand who owns what and where the user is actually in what group. So given that, you'll be able to understand this context. So you can even change file depending on what you want to give. There are file modifications range according to what permissions you want to give a file. So every time you see that, you should be able to actually use files. So if you don't know how to use that, you can run its man page and understand how it is being used. So in this case, it will tell you what it does, and it will show you the options of how to actually use it. So in this case, you can even read about its description and understand more about it. Okay, so you can quit that. So that takes us to always. We are now going to go to our next challenge, and I want to see who solves it first. So when we look at those permissions, we shall look at these permissions and how they can be changed. So in this case, a permission in Linux, maybe you can see that these are permissions. For example, these are permissions. So in this case, D means this is a directory or a folder. R means it is readable and writable. RW. X means it is executable. And writable. So meaning that all these signs you have to understand them. There is a difference between, for example, this and that and this. For example, you'll see where there is only R and where there is R and W. So all these give you how to go about Linux file system. So ch mode, you can add read permission for a group. Ch mode also you can set, for example, set UID bit for the file. So for example, how do I create an executable? For example, let me create a file. I will use a command called touch. I think I should do this. ls. I had created a folder called Joel. Let me cd to Joel. ls, nothing is there. So let me create a file. I call it, I can use a command called touch, and I call this file, I just call it joel.sh. So when I list, this file will be there. But when I try to see its permissions, you see that this permission is readable and writable by this user Kali. I want to change this file to make it executable. How do I do that? How do I know the file is executable? You'll see something like X here. So let's do that. So I will use chmod. So in this case, chmod means change mode. So chmod, I want to make it executable. So for example, I don't know how to use chmod. Now what will I do? Help. So I run for help now. So I want to make this executable, and they are telling me in order to use chmod, you have to run chmod option with the mode followed by the file. Okay, so how do I make a file executable? So let me, for example, run man chmod, and I grep what to execute. So in this case, what I'm doing, I see I'm using pipe to run two commands at a go. So I can see if I want to do execution, they will tell me anywhere the word execute is in all that manual page. Why am I doing so? I don't want things of bringing many things. If I run that command without this, they will bring me a lot of documentation. Yet for me, I'm looking for something to do with executable, so which is hard. So what I will do, they are telling me that X is what we use execute files. So this makes me understand that now I have to use X as to make my file executable. So I'll just say chmod plus X and put the file. This file is joel.sh that I had created. Sorry, and I press enter. So what will happen here is that I have changed the mode, or I have modified the permissions of this file to something else. And I want us to see the difference of how it looks like up there, where here. This is how it looks like. But now let's now do the same command. ls attack l. So please, in your text, in your chat, show me what has changed. Let me see you type what has changed in the chat. Oh, okay. Is there anyone that can see my screen? Is this a general problem? You can't see my screen? I want to confirm because I'm seeing people answering what I'm saying. I want to understand. If you can see my screen, yeah, you react yes. If you can see my screen, react yes. If you can see my screen, react yes. Thank you. People can view my screen. I think it's like one person that is not seeing my screen. I don't know why. Um, oh, okay. At some point, my screen got stuck. Sorry. Sorry about that. Apologies. Yes. So, well, I'm seeing people typing what exactly changed, and I thank you for being attentive. Well, what do we see here now? Someone says it has changed from just R to something with X. So in this case, the file permissions have changed. Thank you, Emmanuel. I can see someone is asking what command to navigate into a file that is changed directly to CD. So what has changed? Well, the color has changed, of course. Why? Because we've made this an executable. What else has changed are the permissions. This file has changed from only readable and writable to executable. This file has different permissions with another file. So you'll find in the code, I will ask you some questions of where to actually do what, how to actually get these commands. So there are very many commands, and in this case, I want to make us go for the next challenge. So we have understood that ls lists files, but when you do ls with some arguments here, you can actually view more than what you've been seeing. Now I want to see those people that have been attentive in class. And how will I see these people that have been attentive? To see these people that have been attentive, I'm doing this. I'm going to actually take you to the next challenge, which actually I want to understand who was following and who was not following. Are you ready? If you're ready for the next challenge, please react yes. Let me see those who are ready for the next challenge. If you're ready for the next challenge, Okay, so we can look at our next challenge. For those taking the challenge is not there, it's me to tell you when to actually go and get and see that challenge. Okay, so this challenge will be an easy one for everyone, and I can guarantee you that everyone will be able to solve it. Okay, so those who solve the SSH, can I see you react? Yes, if you solve the SSH. Okay, so now our next challenge will be looking at how to actually go about the commands we are from reading. And in this case, we shall use, we shall just SSH. It will teach you how to SSH into a system, and I think we've learned how to do that. And I should not see anyone like failing to actually do what SSH into a system. So on this juncture, allow me invite you to do um, a challenge on the platform called um, the challenge will be called Go Home, and that challenge will teach you how to actually know where your home directory is, and then find a flag there. And it will also teach you how to actually do. It will teach you how to actually SSH into a system. So in this case, this challenge called Go Home is a challenge tailored to teach you how to SSH into a remote server, and it also teaches you how to know where your working directory is. So it is saying find the flag in the home directory. In this case, you have to SSH to this machine as user, CTF player, and password this. Hey, so I'm giving you 2 minutes. We'll see the person to first crack this down, and he will earn his good recognition. Thank you. 2 minutes. Sorry about those using phone to attend this, but all this will be up for you even after you reach home. And those fellows who miss out, the session is recorded for them. Thank you. Okay, I see people, no one has already solved this. Okay. I can see no one has already solved this challenge. Are we getting that someone says the terminal is frozen? No. When it freezes, you just refresh. Or you can use your machine. You can use your terminal. You can use your, we learned how you can SSH to a remote server. You can use your PowerShell. You can use your command prompt. You can use your WSL. Just SSH. So I told you when you don't know how to use a command, you know how to use it. SSH. So I'm waiting to see who solves this first. I don't want someone to give hints in the what? In the chat section, please. Just submit the flag, and I shall be. Let me see those that have solved the challenge. Okay, so I think let's do this together. Or you want me to? You can type any challenge you're facing in the chat section. I have given the IP, which is this, and you should be able to use it to SSH to a system. First, understand what is your home directory. After understanding your home directory, try to understand what is there. And I want to know those how to know. So I'm actually now understanding why all of you are stuck. It's because you don't want to read how to use a command more than what we've seen. And in only 20 seconds, we shall solve this together and see how you would have solved this. Okay, let's solve this together. Please come back to this screen of mine. So let's now solve this together, and we shall see where we've gone wrong. I don't know whether we should solve this together, but anyway, we shall set most of them. So the chat is saying, find the flag in the home directory, and the VM details are attached. So we have the IP, we have the username, we have the password. That is all we need, as long as we have where and how to run. So in this case, we move our terminal. Here, the command is SSH space followed by. So if I don't know how to use the command, I say just run help. It will show you how to actually use it. Or you can just say man SSH. It will give you how to use it. They're saying you have to say you run a command SSH followed, for example, by maybe a name and everything, a name and the host. So let's let's now run. So SSH space, we put a username, and in this case, our username is CTF player. So you put add, you put a remote host. A remote host in this case is this IP we've been given. You have to take note of that. You paste there and press enter. When you press enter, they will ask you sometimes to accept fingerprints and say yes, and they just ask you for the password. In Linux, passwords are in hidden mode. Maybe someone was trying to write a password, but he was not seeing characters there. In Linux, when you're writing a password, you don't see characters. No, you just write your password correctly. For example, now I have started writing my password. So you see, I have written my password, but characters are not being shown. So that is Linux. Passwords are in hidden mode. You don't see the characters. So I press enter. If your password is correct, you'll be logged in like this. And in this case, I've been logged onto a remote server. This is the remote server. So if you want to clear, you think me clear screen, so clear command will clear screen so that you don't have many things on the screen. Okay, so first things first, when I'm inside, we have to go back and read the question. They are saying, find the plug in the home directory. In this case, I want to first understand, I logged in as CTF player. Am I even in my home directory? How do I see, how do I know that? There is a command called print working directory, PWD. Enter. This command prints the directory you are in, and I can guarantee you we are in our home directory. So, what do we want in our home directory? In our home directory, we are looking for a flag. We all know that flags in this competition all over, they will be looking like this, cyber stars. This is how flag looks like. For people doing this for the first time, we shall be hiding things like this in systems for you to find them. As you're finding them, you're learning. For example, by the time you reach here, you'll be able to know, I know how to SSH, I know how to print working directory, or I know how to list. So what I'm looking for is a flag, and the flag looks like this. It starts with the word cyber stars. Let's go back and hunt for the flag. So first things first, they even told me that it is in the working directory, that it is in home. And what is my home? It is this. So now it means that I'm exactly in the folder the flag should be. So when I do ls, I should expect a flag here, but I'm not seeing a flag. Who can tell me in the chat what can I do to see this flag? Okay. Thank you, Benjamin Baganja Emmanuel. He says you have to put an argument. We Thank you very much. We said when a command is not sufficient, you have to put arguments. And which arguments do you put? We've seen all many arguments when you do to man ls. There are very many of them, and you see a command like this. We can see a command like, you see, all these are commands. All these are options and arguments to actually append on a command. So what will I do? So I will just say ls. Maybe I will start with stack A, print everything in this file. So in this case, ls stack A. A means that just list everything. In this case, when I listed nothing was shown. Why? Who can tell me why when I listed nothing shown and now when I just put this argument something shows up? Who can tell me in the chat? Okay, I can see you. So someone says the file was empty. Another one says files were hidden. Another one says files were hidden. And that is the right answer. It's because when I just do ls and I don't see anything, doesn't mean the directory is empty. It means something is hidden. How do we hide files in Linux? Who can show me something different in these files I have listed? Type it in the chat. What's the difference in these files I have listed that you see on the screen after putting this argument of A? You have to be curious. Marketing engineers are always curious. Manuel says they have a dot at the beginning. They all start with a dot. Thank you very much. So if you want to hide a file in Linux, you just call it a name, but with a dot at the beginning. So exactly that file will be in hidden mode, even if someone does ls will. So attackers and malicious actors or hackers, they normally use this to hide some of their payload, some of their files from you. That is why you learn these things. So in this case, we see something like a flag here, user flag.txt. And how do we open that file? We just run cat.user user flag.txt. So basically, you'll be able to get your answer and copy it well. This platform is case sensitive, and you should be able to actually submit this. Okay, you should be able to 1 minute, and then I'm giving 1 minute to access and submit. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Okay. I was giving a minute for you to. So for those that are getting incorrect flag, it should now work. The flag should really now work. If you refresh the platform, the flag should work. You have to refresh the platform, and the flag should work. Okay, if you've solved it, please let me know. And I want to confirm how many people that have solved the challenge. The flag should work. If you refresh the platform, the flag should be able to work. Okay, so we are yet to finish, and this marks almost the end of our session. And before I finish, I will open a few challenges about Linux that you will go and start on through. So I, before we finish, we want to mark attendance because we want to actually encourage you, everyone, to fill this. Please, I'm going to share something. Please scan and attend. I shared the link in the chat. Scan this and fill in the form for us to capture the attendance. I'm giving you 1 minute, please, to register, and we wind up and we give Q&A. Okay, the link has been shared in the chat. You should be able to access. I can reshare the group again if at all you didn't see it. The group in the chat, when you check the group chat, even on the WhatsApp group, the link has been shared, and I encourage you all to practice it. Okay, so today we've looked at all these, and in a few minutes, I'll be understanding how to actually get your questions from you and what you can learn. So we've understood ILS list contents of directories. We've seen make directory, mkdir is for directory creation. We shall look at many more commands like move, like locate, like find. We've seen pwd, use it to print the working directory you're in. We've seen a command like touch, just creates a file or changes the current type. We shall see commands like which and so on and so forth. So we shall also see how to view files using Emacs, using VI, using tail or gedit, and so on and so forth. So I will share this in the chat. I will share this in our WhatsApp forum, and I encourage us to look through these commands and solve the challenges. I will entertain a few questions, and only a few. I don't want us to delay here, yet it's already time. So you can all go through the LMS and try to practice. So the first command, the first question, you can raise up your hand and I allow you to unmute. Okay, something people saying the WhatsApp link. If you have questions, I'm entertaining questions now. If you have questions, I'm entertaining questions now. You can either put them in the chat or you can unmute. You can raise up your hand and I unmute you. Please register. Please register. Those asking for WhatsApp group link, I don't know whether you were with us from the beginning, but I can share it also. Okay, I'm entertaining questions now. Q&A. I can confirm the attendance of over 100 students. You can ask me any question, even if it's a mentorship session or any session you feel like. You can answer. I can answer it right now. Okay, I can start with those that are here. Um, so they are saying, someone is saying, is getting, I'm not understanding flags. Sorry, I'm a beginner. Okay, you don't need to worry even if you're a beginner. So someone they are saying, how do we register and people having access permission? I don't know what you mean access permission. I don't know whether you're on the, you SSH to the server. Someone says how to answer the challenges. I'm hearing of flags and I'm not understanding flags. Sorry, I'm now beginning. Okay, let's understand together. In this case, what is a flag? For those that attended my first, very first session at UCC, you would have you understand that I talked about something to do with what is this competition about. This is a cybersecurity competition that targets cybersecurity beginners, and these beginners, how do we train them? We train them on different categories, and these categories vary. We have categories in different domains. That's why when you go to this platform and go to challenges, they will open challenges that look like this. A challenge in this case is a question, like you can get an exam with question number 1, number 2, question about this topic, question about this topic. The same applies to this. So all these are questions, but in different categories. We can teach you about digital forensics, reverse engineering, cryptography, general skills. I explained this, web security, and so on. So inside these categories, for example, a category like digital forensics, you will find a challenge there or a question. We shall add many questions there. A question will be having a title, the marks it is carrying, and its description. In this case, it will have a scenario like at your internship company, the finance managers or the manager has been accused of fraud and jeopardizing company's financial reputation. But there is now a conclusive evidence apart from a pure picture, from a mere picture. The digital forensic auditor found nothing on the image, and your supervisor knows you are skilled in digital forensics. He has assigned you to help him bring the case to light. In this case, the question, they will tell you this is the description, and they will give you a file. For example, some questions will have files like this. So in this case, you have to download this file on your machine and investigate according to what question it is asking for. So what do we investigate? When you investigate a file, for example, I see this file. You can save this file anywhere. Um, After saving it, what is the purpose here? Is to submit something hidden. And in this case, it is a flag. But then what is a flag? A flag is a string, just something hidden somewhere. As you're exploiting it, you actually do what? You actually bring it and discover it. For example, for those that were solving web security, we have a website that we have hidden a flag in. So your goal is to exploit this website here, exploit this website, find something that is hidden. Why do we hide things? The purpose of hiding things is that you will not learn web exploitation on live portals, for example, banking organizations. No. This is an environment. It's like I've given you my website. Please compromise it. For example, it has a login. Bypass this login, maybe you access the portal. So when you bypass this login and you maybe the flag is hidden on the portal. So a flag is a hidden string. We call them flags. It is always hidden somewhere, and we are always looking for it. Because why do we submit? It is our assessment that we've solved the question. So we bring that flag and paste it. You have to copy it well and paste it here. For example, if that flag would be looking like cyber stars with double quotes. But there will be some things here, different things. Every flag will be unique. Not every flag will be the same. Just like you saw us solving this question, whereby the question wanted us to go in the home directory and discover the flag. So as you can see, when we found a hidden file called user flag, we copied it very well. You have to copy it well without space at the end. We brought it and submitted it on the challenge. The challenge was called Go Home. We came and submitted it. When you submit this answer and it is correct, you will get your point, 60 point. Where do you find these points? When you go to scoreboard, you'll see your points. For example, you'll see that this person has actually solved most of the, is the number one. He solved many questions, many challenges. But why is he number one yet? Number two, they have the same point. It's because he solved that, or he reached this point before anyone else. So even if you have the same point, the scoreboard takes the person who submitted the flag first. So in this case, you have to be fast. Don't say, let me skip my flags and submit them at the end. No, you will have actually done or endangered yourself. So I think I've answered that, explaining what a flag is. Another question is saying, I've missed scanning a QR code. Um, the link has been shared in the WhatsApp group, so you should be able to get it from the WhatsApp group. So I think the session is almost done. Is there any question I haven't answered? The WhatsApp group, for those who wanted the link, I've shared it in the chat. Uh, Tomorrow at 8:30, we are proceeding with the next session. Um, what is the SSH CMD before the IP on the previous question? Everything has been given to you. It is in the chat description. We need further training on how to learn solve flag challenges. Personally, I don't know the steps taken, which with time we will really learn. That's why we are here. How can we access the reading materials? The reading materials are at here. You have to create an account and have sent in the chat. You check the chat. You have to access simulations.ugsat.ug to access the LMS, the learning material. If someone tries to use the terminal, is it the same as Kali? Terminals are different, they are not the same, but as long as it's a Linux terminal, it's the same. If something, a tool is not there, you install it. And someone says, personally, I was using Kali and in the VM, but look, like, uh, sometimes it shows inactive, maybe because of your resources. You can ask in the group, they help you. Someone says, I fail to understand how we are answering challenges. I think I've explained it. I don't have permission. Okay, I think that is all for today. Uh, the login says incorrect details. When I use given credentials, you have to paste the credentials very well. If you have Kali and Ubuntu, just click away Ubuntu, be with Kali. Thank you. When someone is using your terminal, what is the password to put? No one should use your terminal. It's someone using your terminal. You have to use that terminal alone. Okay, I think with this, I thank you very much for attending. Over 100 people attended, and I can guarantee you we shall proceed to teach you from zero to very professional and intermediate and even expert security engineers to come. With those, I wish you a very good night and a nice weekend. We meet tomorrow at around 8:30. Thank you very much. Some of us, for those who missed the registration code, um, for if you missed it, it's there. Please scan and register. And I wish you a very interesting night. Thank you.